The best thing you could do for yourself during a breakup is focus on personal growth. Instead of obsessing about your ex, focus on healing your attachment issues. Learn the skills to repair that relationship. Learn to understand your ex better. And when they come back, you can reattract them in a natural, confident way. My workbook series and my creative healing course were designed to help you during no contact and to grow even if they don't come back. You can get them on my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about, did resentment cause your breakup?
And resentment is one of those really powerful things that shows up.
Yes, and there are a lot of exes out there that ended things because they were feeling resentful of what had happened in the relationship. So you better listen up, because many of you are trying to understand what's going on with your ex. Well, they might be thinking about what went wrong in the relationship.
Right. And usually with resentment, there's an original hurt that's kind of like this catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to have this view of what your partner is, who they are, and then later throughout the relationship, you're looking for situations or moments that confirm that.
That's
so
right.
We can have a bit of confirmation bias in our relationship that causes this resentment to build up. For example, maybe there's a day that they don't do the dishes, so you start to have in your mind, oh, they're lazy, they're not clean. And so maybe the next time they leave a candy wrapper on the table and you're saying, see, I knew it. I knew that they weren't clean.
They weren't listening to me.
Right.
When I asked them to fix that thing.
Right. And so these types of things, they build up over time. And it might be something where the first time something happens, you brush it under the rug. Second time, you brush it under the rug. Third time, now the rug is starting to get a little bit clumpy.
I tripped on that rug.
Exactly. So it's one of those things that builds up over time.
Yep. Yes, a lot of times it could be your ex kept something inside. Maybe they felt like they were walking on eggshells with you, mm-hmm. and they didn't think they could bring it up because it would lead to an argument. Sometimes they've asked you for something and you didn't do that particular thing. Could be a lot of different things. But people, you don't just forget those things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's not like they're keeping a tally. Right? Sometimes people think, oh, it's like keeping track of everything I did wrong. It's not that. It's just this feeling of, man, I keep asking you to do this thing and you don't do it. Don't you care about my needs? Don't you care about how I feel? Mm-hmm. And they just feel like, why am I in this relationship with somebody who doesn't care about what I need or what I want?
Yeah, and one of those things about resentment, it's typically a problem that continues and isn't getting resolved until it's large enough for it to be a bigger issue of resentment.
Yeah.
Resentment can be about a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Another major thing to think about when talking about resentment is we start to view our partner as the enemy. We start to view them in a completely different light, even to the point of maybe having contempt for them. Seeing them as somebody who wants to hurt us or attack us in things that they do. Mm-hmm. And this can be part of what's called hostile attribution bias.
Oh, that's a fancy term.
It's a fancy term. And it basically means when we have that bias where we tend to think that what other people are doing is with hostile intent towards us. Mm-hmm. Even if it's something that's neutral or something that's like seemingly insignificant. It could be something like getting a dirty look where you think, man, that person wants to fight me. Mm-hmm. That person doesn't like me, right? So we can start to get in our own head and interpret situations that are happening around us with our partner mm-hmm. that are in a very negative light as if they're against us.
Yeah.
And maybe some of the time this is true. Maybe some of the time your partner is hurt to the point about something else that they want to hurt you back. And now it becomes this tit for tat in this cycle. Mm-hmm. And it can be hard to break out of assuming that your partner has ill will towards you, bad intent towards you. Mm-hmm. And resentment also goes hand in hand with a lot of the 4 horsemen. So if you've been on our channel, you've probably heard us talk about John Gottman's 4 horsemen, which are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. And all of those can describe resentment in one way or another, or things that we tend to do when we're feeling resentful. Man, that resentful criticism is something else.
Yes.
You always.
You never. You always. Yeah.
Every time.
It's so true. Mm-hmm. And those kind of arguments just make things worse and worse and weaken the attraction and that strong connection that you feel with the person. And then they just are like, well, we fight all the time. This isn't changing. Mm-hmm. You're not doing anything different. I want to end this.
Yeah. And people can become defensive. Sometimes resentment starts to build up in both parties. If one person is resentful, then the other one is resentful that the other one is resentful. Then you become defensive. Well, you always do that, and you always do that. And it just becomes this horrible cycle. And stonewalling can happen in that too. Uh-huh. You know, when somebody purposefully shuts down and just blocks off any kind of affection or interaction, almost to punish the other. Yep. So these are things that show up and can be really difficult to work through and lead to a ton of breakups. You know, it gets to the point where this relationship doesn't feel safe anymore.
Now, many of you are sitting there right now thinking about every single thing you did wrong in the relationship, right? Mm-hmm. You're probably thinking, oh, I was stonewalling. Oh, I was critical. Oh, boy, I was defensive, right? And so your big fear is, well, I did all those things. Does that mean my ex is going to come back? Well, hopefully your ex is able to get to a calm place and recognize that they were part of the cycle too, and that it just wasn't everything that you did, right? Ideally, they recognize that you guys created that pattern together in some way, shape, or form, mm-hmm. and that they love you enough to work through those things and come back. And a lot of times they do, but they do need to miss you. Now, it's important for you to understand, if they come back and those things aren't different or they haven't changed, that's it. They're going to be fed up and leave. Mm-hmm. They're not going to stay for long. So this is why I'm saying you have to really work on this stuff while you're in no contact. If you're only focusing on no contact videos, you're not really going to grow. Mm-hmm. It's only going to prepare you for the daily struggle of no contact, but it doesn't prepare you for changing things when they come back. So your ex has to work through their resentment of you, and you also have to work on your resentment for them, things that were bothering you or built up inside of you. Mm-hmm. You can't control if they process it or deal with it. That is on them, you know, and that is also on you, just as like it's on you mm-hmm. to do it for yourself. Right. But it is important for you to really consider why they might be resentful and what you're going to do about it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because if they start to see those things again, like you said, you know, that can build up even more resentment. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that we want. Now, when we talk about working through your own resentment on your own through the breakup, I really want you to think about how you view your ex. Sometimes in calls with clients, I can feel the resentment through the screen from the client. And a part of me thinks, and this is something I'll even say, why do you want this person back? It sounds like you hate them. It sounds like you really despise this person, and this is not an ex that you love and want to repair things with. Right? So I really want you to think about the way that you view them as a whole, as a person, right? There's going to be good and bad things about everybody, mm-hmm. right? About every single person. But how do you view their intentions for you? How do you view the way that they move around the world and treat others? And how do you view their characteristics and their traits? Are you able to respect them even if they show qualities that might be annoying or might be frustrating at times, right? I think with resentment, sometimes we can start to lose respect very quickly too. So that's something that you individually can work on, is repairing your view of them. Mm-hmm. And that can be thinking about the times that they did show up in the ways that surprised you and positively. Also, talking about the real issues beneath the resentment. You know, it's typically rarely just about the dishes or, you know, just about anything else that people are typically resentful of on the surface. The cat
box I hear a lot.
The cat box?
Yeah,
like the litter box?
Cleaning the litter box, yeah.
Really? Mm.
I hear that one a lot. Mm. And then they'll be like, but it was their cat.
Right, but it's typically not about that. It can be about like an underlying depression that keeps people from changing the litter box. It can be about the unfair share of labor in the household. It could be about, you know, well, this is my cat and I would want you to be a part of my family and have my little kitten also be your fur child, right? There could be layers to it. So as you're thinking about the resentment, try to peel back the layers. Is there hurt there? Is there fear? Is there loneliness? Is there shame? Is there abandonment? Is there maybe that feeling of being belittled and small by your partner? Is there that feeling less than, or maybe not prioritized or ignored, feeling controlled? So a lot of times these are more of those deeper, more vulnerable feelings that are beneath that contempt and beneath that resentfulness.
And what's tough about all those things too is that many of those things were areas that they were hurt as a child. Okay, so you have to understand your person and their struggles, and that they are sensitive in certain areas than other people you date. And that's part of the reason, we say every breakup is different. Every situation is different. Well, your ex was hurt differently than other people that you're going to date. And so you want to be more sensitive or thoughtful into the areas that they struggle or they were hurt. If not, then they're just going to feel like you don't care. Right?
Yeah.
So resentment is definitely something you can work on, but the more you're aware of it within yourself and how it's showing up in maybe how you're treating your partner or the things that they are resentful at towards you, you're going to be a lot more likely to work through those things if you can have some empathy and compassion and understand them.
Right. So it starts small. It starts with you being able to work through those emotions, on your own, and giving your ex that opportunity in that space to start to form a different picture of you, a different view of you.
All right. So hopefully this one has been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.